everyone. Well, today we are going to finally do my first half of 2023 rankings, which is so exciting. I'm so excited to make this video. So I have the rankings in front of me, so when I look down, I'm just looking at the rankings here, and I have the order of everything I've read so far this year. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, the first one is Emma. I read Emma, actually I read a lot of it last year, but it didn't get finished until this year, because my life is crazy. So I finished Emma. I would say it is a good book. So this category is nothing bad, nothing good. I just can't say that it's like one of my favorites. I think it's just a good book. Very good characters. Very good comedy, not the best pacing, so I had some slower parts of this book that I didn't like as much. The next book I finished was Return of the King. Woohoo! So Return of the King was also one of the ones I started last year, but I finished it in 2023, and I put it in the wonderful category. Now, other people would say this is the perfect book. I agree that it's mostly perfect. But it is, and I've talked a lot about this, I won't go too deep into it. Tolkien is a very difficult author for me to read with my dyslexia. So I love the story, and I love researching Tolkien and going deeper into the lore, but his works are a lot harder for me to read. So I didn't put it in my perfect book just because... Sorry, that's my dog. Just because it's hard for me to read, Tolkien is, so wonderful. She's so cute. Alright, then we have A Crown of Swords. I think it's the first one that I started in 2023. So A Crown of Swords, I also put it in wonderful behind Tolkien. Some people include this in this log. To me, that is not accurate. It is definitely, to me, a very good book. It's wonderful, so I put it there. Next is Grave Peril. Grave Peril is, I believe, the third in the Dresden Files, and it was very, very good. I did it in audiobook on a trip, and it was great to read on listen to on a trip. However, it's not really my genre. Horror is not my favorite thing in the world. I really enjoyed a lot of it, but it really isn't my genre. I'm not going to put it into my perfect book or wonderful. It is a very, very good book, and if horror is your genre, it may be, like, fantastic to you, but it's just not my genre. Then Northanger Abbey. Northanger Abbey is going to be the first one in Not My Cup of Tea. Very, very good book. Some people love this Jane Austen. I liked parts of it. I still love the characters, still love the growth. But I don't really like gothic novels, and that's what she's satirizing. So it's one of those, I get the joke, but it's not funny to me. And I hate it when people are like, you just don't get the joke. No, like, I do get what she's doing. She's satirizing gothic books, gothic romance. It's just not, like I said, not my cup of tea. It's a good book, but it's just not my cup of tea. Alright, my first perfect book. So this one is The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton. This is one of his first novels he ever wrote or published. I think it might be his second novel that he ever published, right after, I think, Andromeda Strain, and then this one. I do not remember. I'm so sorry if I'm wrong. But it's historical fiction. It's set in London. I can't remember what year, but quite a while ago. And it's just fantastic. It's right there in the title. It's a great train robbery. If you like the Firefly episode that is like the train heist, I forget the actual name of it, might be The Great Train Robbery, which might be a reference to this book. But if you like that book, or that episode of Firefly, if that's your favorite episode of Firefly, please read this book. It is fantastic. There are some cultural things that are hard to read about, but it's just historically accurate to that time period. And so if you're sensitive to that, maybe you won't like it. I thought it was great. It was a wonderful, wonderful book. Next is probably one that's going to get me the most heat, is The Order of the Phoenix. Is, like, hands down my least favorite Harry Potter. It's way too long. It needed editing. Lots of weird drama that didn't need to be there. So, not my cup of tea. I hate the ending of it. I'm sorry, I hate the whole Department of Mysteries. Even, I mean, the book does it better than the movie, but the book, it's still kind of convoluted. So, not my cup of tea. If I was going to read a Harry Potter book, I would not pick this one. I'm sorry. It's still a good book. It's still Harry Potter. I love the world so much, but it's a little long and it's a little convoluted. Alright, Pride and Prejudice. Woo! So, Pride and Prejudice, obviously my favorite. Not a surprise. I think it's the perfect book. I would be very curious to know if anyone can nitpick a flaw in this story. Other than just, like, I don't like romance, so I don't like that book. But, like, an actual flaw in the book. I don't see how there could be any flaw in this book. It's just so perfect. The characters are so engaging. The comedy is amazing in this book. The growth of the main character and her love interest is so amazing. It has a great villain. It has a great, like, sudden reveal that everything she knew was wrong and she grew from it. It's just an amazing book, and just wonderful sister relationships, wonderful father-daughter relationship, wonderful mother-daughter relationship, sister-to-sister kind of relationship, best bro friends, like hurting each other accidentally and making up. It's just, it has it all, and I love this book so much. So, Pride and Prejudice. Please read it if you have not. Wonderful classic. New Spring, I believe I would change my rankings of Wheel of Time. I think New Spring might be my favorite Wheel of Time, which is awful to say. Because it's just a novella to him. Any other author, this would be a novel, but to him, this is a novella. It's just the prequel. I really wish there were more prequels. I love Maureen. I love Lan in this story. You actually get in Lan's head, which never happens, or hasn't yet, in the 8-9 Wheel of Time books I've read. I don't know what number I'm on. Sorry, it's hard to keep track after a while. So yeah, I just really love this book. It has so much better pacing than a lot of the other Wheel of Time books, because it's a lot shorter. So sorry, I know, Wheel of Time fans, but I love New Spring. Tress. I put Tress in Wonderful. I loved Tress. I really wish, though, that I had read it physical copy. I read it Kindle, and I've really struggled with Kindle. Really bad eyesight. The Kindle hurts my eyes, and you can't see the progress as easily. So, like, in a book, you, like, are getting the feedback, like, oh, I can see that I'm making progress in this book, and that just, like, feedback I like so much better, whereas in a Kindle, just seeing a percentage is not as fulfilling to me as, like, seeing physically, going through the book. I'm here now, and then I'm here now, look how little I have left, and, like, that kind of feedback I like a lot better. So I really wish for Tress I had read it in a physical copy. But it was still wonderful. I really like the characters. I really like the humor. I'm excited to read more Brandon Sanderson. It was my first Brandon Sanderson. So, yeah, I mean, it was a very, very good book. So don't get me wrong. It's a great book. It's just, I can't put it in my perfect book because the experience wasn't that great for me. I'm sorry. It took me forever, too, like, because it's on Kindle. Alright, Eaters of the Dead. Nope. I love that I put that category as nope. This is a good historical fiction. If you like Beowulf, it'll probably interest you. It's based off of Beowulf loosely. It's very good. if you like Vikings, please read this book. It's an amazing book. Michael Crichton is such a fantastic author. Vikings are just not my thing, and they're kind of gross. So, there are just some things that really got to me in this book. His descriptions are very vivid, which is nasty when you're talking about Vikings. I don't want to hear about how they go to the toilet. I'm sorry. No thank you. I don't want to know. So if it was any other author, I probably would have DNF'd it, and I'm glad I did not DNF it, because the ending was way better than the second half was way better than the first half. So I'm very glad I didn't DNF it, but it was hard to get through for parts. Thankfully it was short. I feel like I also would have DNF'd it if it was any longer than it is. But yeah, it was okay. It's just not, no. It's gross. Gross. Alright, Bellmaker. So Brian Jakes, I've gushed enough about Brian Jakes. I adore the Redwall series. I put it in a good book. This was the sequel to my favorite Redwall, so you would think that I would have liked it better. I'm sorry, I didn't like it better. But I was so excited that it was a sequel. I did not know that. But it frustrates me that it's called The Bellmaker, because it's way more about Marielle than her father. But it was a good book. It was really good Redwall, solid Redwall. Path of Daggers. Path of Daggers is considered the first slog book. But I don't think it's considered the worst. It's the shortest of his main novels. And I liked the pacing really well. I liked this book. I liked the ending to the Cloud Bowl situation. I liked Rand's whole deal. What else did I like? I like the villains a lot in this book. The villains really shine in this book. So, yeah, it was a good one. It wasn't as good as Crown of Swords, I don't think, but it was a very good book. I liked it. I didn't think it was sloggy. It's really short. I don't understand why they say the shortest ones are sloggy, but we'll find out. I'm starting Winter Start soon. Persuasion. Persuasion is another Jane Austen. It's one of her shorter ones. I put it in my perfect book. I adored it. The pacing was wonderful. The characters were wonderful. Let me tell you how good this book is. This book is so good that the ending was spoiled for me before I started, and I still enjoyed every second of this book. Even though I knew exactly, I knew before I started what was gonna happen. It's still amazing, and I love it so much, and that's what is so good about Jane Austen. Even if you know the story, the characters are just so gripping that it does not matter if you know the story already. So yeah, my perfect book. Then Mort is also a perfect book. I don't think that will surprise anyone. Discworld is incredibly popular. I'm very late to the game with Discworld. So Mort was my first Discworld. It was very, very good. Love the characters, love the humor. Not surprising, that's what Terry Pratchett's known for. About to start Read for Man as soon as I finish this video. So yeah, it's right up there. It's right up there. Tagarum. I like Tagarum way better than The Bellmaker. It's up there now with one of my favorite Redwall books. It's definitely my favorite of the books that I didn't read when I was a child. My favorite of the more recent reads of Redwall. I'm reading through the Redwalls I didn't grow up with, and this is definitely my favorite. It's if you know Redwall at all, it's an otter who was raised with vermin, which I love that kind of trope of he's destined to still be a hero even though he was raised among villains kind of thing. I loved it so much. It was really, really good. Alright, my third not my cup of tea. This is Molly Burke's autobiography. Molly Burke is a very famous YouTuber. She's blind. I love her content so much. She vlogs through going to guide dog school. It's amazing. I love it so much. just her stories about being a blind person in today's society. I really like her a lot. Her autobiography was not my favorite. It was very, very short. She's so adorable. Her personality just blossoms through it. I really like that. But it's very, very short. And I don't know what I was expecting, but it was just a little bit more... I don't know. Maybe I was expecting more new things, and I already knew a lot. So maybe that's why I didn't like it as much. And I'm not really an autobiography type person. So maybe that's why. I don't know. So that's why I put in not my cup of tea. It's a good book. It's just not really my thing. I just thought I should read it because it was there, and I like Molly Burke a lot. Alright, 3 more. So these were like in the last 2 weeks. And I don't really remember the order of these next two. Out of the Silent Planet, I'm re-listening to the Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. So I'm hoping to get through the last one. I have never finished the last one. I'm not sure how far I got. We'll find out. I'm in Paralandra right now. Out of the Silent Planet is fantastic. If you like sci-fi, it is so good. If you're a Christian and like sci-fi, you should read these. They are amazing. Amazing. He is obviously a Christian, but I don't think it's as obvious in these as it is in Narnia, if that bothers you. I mean, obviously it's going to affect his work, because that's who he is. So, it's beautiful. I love it so much. It's just so special to me. I grew up with this one and the second book, Paralandra, which I'm listening to right now. I just grew up with these stories, and it's just so special to me. Speaking of special for me, is Becoming Free Indeed. Yeah. So this next one is just very, very special to me. Ginger Duggar has a similar story to me. I didn't grow up in a cult like she did, but I grew up very, very legalistic, conservative Christian, and this was just such a special journey through not just like that she has left that life, but why biblically that life is incorrect. And I find a lot of people, that's their view of Christianity, is just all these rules, and that's not what it is. And if you read the Bible, it's very clear that's not what it is. So it was just very special to read. I felt very seen when I read that book, and it was just beautiful. So if you were raised very strict, even if it wasn't strict Christian, I suggest this book. It was just fantastic. If you weren't raised strict, I don't think you would get it. But, I mean, anyone could read it. But if you were raised super strict, you should read this book. It was so amazing. And then finally, I finished this just the other day. Sense and Sensibility, my second favorite Jane Austen. I thought it might trump Pride and Prejudice. I don't think it has, but at the same time, it is so beautiful. It's such a good book. The sister relationship, the comparison between the two, the growth of Marianne. The villain is very good in this book. Yeah, it's just so amazing. Again, motherhood in general, it's just such a fantastic book on a lot of levels. Not judging people who are more shallow than you, which I struggle with. Yeah, a lot of really great lessons in this book. Yeah, so I think that's it. That is my final rankings. I hope you like them. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. I would love to hear about it. I'm sure you do. This is very personal to me. And if you read this 6 months, let me know what your favorite thing you read was. I would love to hear all about it. Yeah, so I hope you have a great day, and see you next time.